Hi everybody. I'm sorry for not showing you my pretty face, but you know my hair is just a tangle and I'll spare you that sight. So I'll show the things I'm working on instead. There was a discussion a few days ago about my eyes and how to make the sclerotic capsule. The person I talked to had problems with the edge of the iris. I make the eyes to the iris and then I sculpt the sclerotic capsule with epoxy. And I have shown sculpting with epoxy before. I think the primary difference between my technique of sculpting and how most people do it is I put in much more water, and that makes it a lot easier to shape, and I'd like to show that again. It might turn out to be a problem to talk and do this at the same time, because, you know, even if I'm not that much of an alpha male, I'm definitely male in one aspect. I can walk and talk at the same time, but if I am doing something that I have to concentrate on, that makes it difficult for me to talk at the same time and explain what I'm doing. And that problem is getting worse when I use English, because that's not my native language. But we'll make a try anyway. I have set the eye, as you can see, and I have covered the eye with this compound. That's a liquid masking film. It's kind of a latex film that you brush on and it dries, and I've used that all the time since I started doing all this. I have taken a piece of each part of the epoxy, and I'm going to mix that and show you how much water I put in. That's the first thing. So this is my water jar. I've used it all the time since I started working with epoxy. It's over 20 years ago, and you can see that, but it's kind of a lucky jar, so I'll keep using it for as long as I can, even if it doesn't look that fresh. And I have taken the two parts here, and I'm going to start mixing them. And the first thing I do is I dip them in water, and then I mix, dip, mix, dip, mix, dip, and I keep doing this. I mean, anybody, I think most people would stop around here and think that's good, but it's not good. It's going to be much softer when I'm done. I keep dipping, and you see that it's almost starting to run off a little now, but that's not enough anyway. Dipping, dipping. Now it starts to, you know, almost fall apart a little. It's the consistency of a thick cream more than the model clay consistency of normal epoxy. So this is what I want. It's smearing, you know. It's so soft that I get smears on my fingers from it. Then this is good. That's what I want. So I take that and I put it on a little plastic sheet that I have here for epoxy, and I'm going to start sculpting. So I'll show you how I put this masking compound onto. It's just dipping a stick in the compound. Don't dip a paintbrush, because you can never get that paintbrush clean again. Use a stick instead and just carefully push it out over the surface. It's supposed to not run. If you shake it well, it doesn't run. It stays on a vertical surface. These air bubbles are supposed to just burst when it dries, but just to make sure, I try to remove them as much as I can. I'm using a piece of tissue paper to do that. Just touch them with the edge of the paper which makes them pop. But you can't use the same part of the paper again, because once it's wet with this compound, it won't pop the air bubbles anymore. Like that. Now it's just going to harden, and then I can go on sculpting the eye. And these are my main two tools to shape the epoxy. It's a paintbrush and a toothpick or a piece of barbecue skewer. I use the skewer mainly to put the epoxy on, and the paintbrush dipped in water I use to shape. And as soft as it is, it's very easy to shape with a paintbrush. And I use wet fingers, of course, also to shape. You're going to see how easy it is to shape it. So now I'm going to change scene and put the fish in focus here. Start sculpting. Like that. So what I'm doing first is basically just filling up around the eye, using a wet finger to just smoothen the compound out. And as you can see, it's extremely easy to shape it as soft as it is now. And I can go on filling the edge around the eye all the way around before I do anything else to give it some shape. It blends quite perfectly, and the transitions towards other surfaces are also very smooth. And that's because of this softness that the water gives it. Sometimes I put on a little too much, and then it's easy to remove. There. That's it. Now I have to start defining the edge between the iris and the sclerotic capsule, and I use the paintbrush for that. I start by pushing the edge back with the paintbrush until I see the edge of the flex coat cornea towards the wooden dowel that I used to make it on. And you see how easily I can push the epoxy in place with just a wet paintbrush. And if I dip the paintbrush and then just press out some of the moisture like this, make it a little bit flat, it's perfect to take away any edges. Like that. Let's go on with the lower part where the eye goes down into the cheek a little. I'll have to push down quite a bit here, of course. I can take away, if there's too much water, I can take it away by just squeezing water out of the paintbrush and using it to suck up the water in these crevices. Like that, for example. And then I put it back up to a bulge here, because that's the way it usually looks. Taking water away. And using the flat, moist paintbrush to just smooth everything out. There is sometimes a little bit of a fold in the sclerotic tissue here at the corner of the eye, and that's easy to create too. Just use the paintbrush to draw it up and smooth it out. And I'll do a fold towards the rear of the eye too, where the cornea tissue disappears down below the surface of the cheek. We are just about there. I'll take just a little more. I think you can see it's also easy to take just a little bit of compound and just put it on where you need to have more, and just blend it into what you already have there, as long as you keep the paintbrush wet and smooth. If I need to move the compound in any direction, it just slides where I want it. There, that's about as perfect a sclera as I can get, and I think it's good enough. Now it's just going to set for an hour or two, and then I can make the eye socket around it. It's about 2 hours later, and the first layer of epoxy has set a bit, so now I can go on making the eye socket. And you can see I drew up the contour of the eye socket here. That was according to some reference that I have. And you can also see that I have made a new hole for nostrils here, because these nostrils ended up a little bit too close to the eye. So I'm going to fill those up and make new nostrils right here where I made a new hole. And I figured as I was showing this, I could just as well show that too in this clip. And I mixed up a new batch of epoxy, and I have my water, and I have my skewer, and I have my paintbrush. So I'm just going to start now. And it's the same way as before. I put on a little here around where the socket is supposed to be, and then I level it out with a wet finger. And I push it up to the line that I drew for the socket edge. And it's the same thing as before. It's easy to shape when you have a wet finger. Just blends perfectly and levels out with the other parts of the head. So I'm doing that around where the socket is supposed to be. And it doesn't take a very thick layer here, just so that you have some new material to work with. That's it. And pulling it out to fill those nostrils that were in the wrong place. The excess can go there. Right there. Now it's time to start shaping the contour with the paintbrush again. And just follow it with the edge here and create the little socket edge that you see in the surface of the head. And if I need just a little bit more, I put it on the paintbrush, and then I put it off where I want it and work it there. If something needs to move, it slides easily along the surface of the hardened epoxy. And this socket blends with a little fold in the sclera tissue that I made here in the corner of the eye before. So when this is hardened, it will all be a unit. And then on to the nostrils then. You have a little bit of a forehead edge right there. So I'm going to build that up a little, just a little, and then let it fall down into the little valley where the nostrils are. There. And I fill the nostrils with epoxy, and then I'm going to open them up again. Like that. And to find the nostrils, I might need to search a little with there is the edge of the new hole. No, that's the old hole. There is the new hole. That's the new hole. There are my nostrils right there. And that old nostril that I opened up again, I will just smooth over again with epoxy. Like that, and to make them look really good, I can use the paintbrush to kind of create the little edges that these nostrils always have. Like that. That's it. And so I'll let it harden again, and then we'll spray a little silver on it and take away the cover over the cornea and see how it looks. So it's the day after and the compound has hardened, and I'll just give it a small dash with this silver rattle can spray. I like to do that because then every little unevenness shows up so much better and I can adjust them afterwards. So I'll do that now. And let that dry. And now that's dry, and I can see that there is a little bit of an edge there, and this is my tool for adjusting after having done the sculpting. It's a sculptor blade held in a piece from an old fly tying vise, and I can lightly scrape things off. There's a small hole here, probably from the old nostril, but if I can't scrape that off, I will of course fill it with just a little bit of compound, but that's nice, I think. And now I'm going to remove the cover of the eye. Use a toothpick to do that. Comes off very easily, and with a toothpick I can adjust the edges. And there it is. That's the way the eye turns out when I've done this, and you can see the sclerotic capsule and the edge and all that. So that's my method for sculpting epoxy. I use it almost for everything where I need to adjust shapes on these foam carvings. Thank you for watching.